Hi everyone, Jared here. Time for the market video update. We've got some pretty good stuff to talk about. Quick little look here, just a reminder, if you haven't been to Day Traders FX in the last day or so, I think I posted this yesterday, looks like I did, make sure you have a look at the recent post about MetaTrader 4 mobile. This is really good news, so make sure you have a look at that. Let's move on to this stock side of things, see how everything looks. Dow down. S&P closed just a little bit in the positive, surprisingly. Oil down a bunch. Gold down a bunch. Everything ended up closing pretty negative today, and it looked like things were actually making a bit of a positive run, and then we'll look at the charts here in just a moment, but we saw a pretty big dive to the downside. News today, we've had a little bit already. We have some Japanese Bank of Japan news coming out. This can always be a little bit of a surprise, so just be careful on any yen trades that you may be in over the next several hours. Coming out tonight for the UK session tonight and tomorrow morning, we have meeting minutes for UK, big news. Retail sales for UK, big news as well. And then we have core retail sales for Canada tomorrow, as well as new home sales for the US. So lots of news coming out, actually. It should be pretty exciting in the market. Remember that we've also been looking at some of the resistance up here on the dollar index around 82. You can see that 82 right there, and dollar pulled back a little bit, and it's making another run at it. So looking pretty good there, and so we got to just kind of keep our eye on that. So we've had a nice little run. We ended up taking 2 trades on the euro dollar, one during the UK session, which was good for about 27 pips, and one during the US session this morning, later in the US session, which was good for about 45 pips. So we had a nice about 72 pip run today in the euro alone, and these were our levels. Remember, these were our levels from yesterday and from the video and so on, and we talked about breaking some of these, and we did see these levels break, and we saw a nice little move down happen. Still looking for a push. If we get above 12800, which is looking a little less likely at this point, then there's still something interesting going on there, but it looks like we're ready to test these lows again. Now here's what I'm looking at and looking for on the euro dollar and what I think might be happening here. We talked a little bit about this big support down here, which is about 126, 25, 30-ish area, and big bounce off that, big bounce. We took about a 200 pip bounce off that, and it's coming right back down to it, looking for that to break. But remember that given the time of month and day and so on it is, we're right in the last week just about of May, and this is where the summer rallies, you know, the big pre-summer movements can start to kind of slow down just a little bit, and so I'm not 100% sure that I'm looking for a break of this level. This could just be the bottom of our summer channel. Very likely that could be the case, and if that is the case, then we could see this bounce and then kind of continue back up and so on. But if it does break this, we might see this make a little run, the euro make a run down into about 125, and so that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. So we've already had our pips, had our trades on this euro dollar, and now it's going to be kind of a little bit of a hurry up and wait kind of a situation. There's some short-term breakouts that we can look for and a couple of other things in that area, but for the moment I think I'm just going to kind of wait for some of these movements to happen and see if we can get a nice retest of the low down here, 26, 30, 40 area. So there's still, you know, about 40 pips to go there, and so like I said, about the only thing I'll be looking for is just a little short-term breakout on this 5-minute trend line. Other than that, I think the euro might need to just kind of wait out the movement just a little bit. Pound dollar here as well. This was our channel that has lasted for several days, well, for 3 days at least, and it's finally starting to make a little break here. We were looking at 158.40.50 on the upside, and I really thought that one might go, but you know, the best thing about these breakouts is we just wait for the movement to happen, and if it does, then great, and it didn't. We never got a break of this 158.40 kind of 50 area. It just kind of stayed below that, and then as the CPI news came out for the UK, it took a nice little dive, retraced all the way back up, and is now continuing down. So what do we see happening for this pound dollar? It's coming down into the low back here, as you can see, which is about 57.30 ish, and more kind of in that 57.50. So found some pretty good support about 57.50, and we'll find some more at about 57.30, and I think the pair is going to be able to continue down nicely, because if you look at the daily chart here, lots of congestion, lots of consolidation, lots of choppiness. That was 2 months of just ugly choppiness, and it finally made a little move, and then it finally came all the way back down here, and now it's just consolidating right here, and I think the pound dollar is headed down into this 15600, 96.25 area. Very strong back here, very strong here, and I think it's finally making its way into that general area. So that's what we're looking for on the pound dollar, is to break these lows. Remember, the key levels are going to be 157.50 and 157.30, and right now it's trying to break that 50, and I think it's going to be able to. And below that, I'll trade it to 157.30, and then below that, I'll be taking a break into 157.100. So I think there's about a 50 pip run ahead of us. And likewise, as you can tell, this right here is my 100-day moving average, and the hour chart has really been reacting well on this pound dollar. It's just been, a little bit above, tests it, and it tested it once again. And so I wouldn't be surprised to get a little bit of a chance up here to maybe short it somewhere around the 5800, 5815, and then bring it back down. So look for some retracement. We're going to look for some sell opportunities right around 15800. Euro yen failed to break above 10200. They made a nice little attempt at it during that UK session, and then just couldn't quite do it. About 10 pips above, and then ended up breaking our trend line. And this is the same trend line that I had from yesterday's daily video. This being the case, we just know that these levels have really hung in there and played out nicely, and it's broken this and sitting on that daily pivot. I think the euro yen is a very nice play for a little bit of retracement. Look for this to get back up towards about 101, 60, 70-ish area, and then we're going to start watching these short-term trend lines. I'm liking these short-term trend lines on some of these setups because the trend should be able to continue and follow through. So just watch for that. If we don't get much of that, then look for some breaks of about 101.35, which isn't too far away, and that gives us a nice little run potentially into the lows, which is about 20 to 25 pips of movement there. So we're just looking for a little bit of pullback and a break of this short-term trend line, and we're going to trade it into the lows here of about 101.10, 101.100, and so on. So these are going to be the levels to really keep a close eye on. Aussie dollar was not able to get up to that 99.60, and in fact, it really looked like it was going to be able to really do a nice breakout. This is a great trend line right here that it just gave us a break, and that's all it had, and it's right back down into these lows. Now, the Aussie dollar here, there's a couple of interesting things happening here. We have a gap that is unfilled right here. It's about an 80 pip gap on the daily chart that has remained unfilled, so I think the Aussie dollar is coming down to get that. The bottom of that gap is about 97.30, and you can see that that's just about 65, 70 pips away from current market price. And then we have the low down here, which is about 96.65, and I think that the Aussie dollar is on its way to that level. Big support down here. I'm not going to be surprised at all to see this be the bottom of the summer channel, and I'm pretty sure that it will be. This looks textbook right here, but it's still got to reach it, and so I think it's going to be able to, and that gives us opportunity to trade this pair down another 120, 130 pips. And so what we're going to have to look for, this is another tricky one. These are tough to enter because there's not a lot of retracement, there's not a lot going on. I'm going to look for just a little short-term breakout on this 5-minute chart. You can see this nice little trend line, and it's already starting to break. If I can get this thing to run up here, 30, 40 pips, then I'm going to look to short it off some of these moving averages and off some of these resistances up here that you can see some consolidation and congestion right around 98, 20, 30 area, and look to take it back down into that 97, 97 and beyond level down there. So looking to short it, like I said, right around 98, 25, 30 to take it back down. So keep an eye on that. But of course, we know that gold is very important for this movement. Gold has been channeling here between 1585 and 1600. Made a break today, pulled all the way back up, and now it's way back down. And this trend line is adios. So I think gold's picking up some momentum to the downside, and that should help that Aussie dollar and pound dollar and euro dollar all be able to continue down from there. So really great setup, some good things happening, and I will make sure that I keep everything updated in the chat and on Twitter. So best of luck, guys. We'll see you in the chat.